They're months behind, but Trans Mountain is now laying small sections of pipe in the BC interior. I'm Peter McCartney, the climate campaigner at the Wilderness Committee, and that means it's time for another pipeline construction update. We're focusing on the interior because there's really not much going on in the lower mainland outside the company's facilities. This time we'll start up around Valemount, where construction is underway. North of town along Highway 5, Trans Mountain has got several kilometers cleared, and they're putting pipe in the ground. They've had their camp, yard, and stockpile site up and running for a while now. And there are anti-salmon spawning mats in Swift Creek again. They're not as far along south of town, where clearing has begun up to the Canoe River. But there's no work to be found near Blue River, where the tiny house warriors have prevented construction on the company's man camp. It's pretty clear they're starting it in places where they believe the pipeline is less likely to meet resistance. That's good news. It means they're nervous of a groundswell of opposition and are willing to accept delays rather than provoke it. Not until McMurphy and Vavenby did we see things pick back up again. You can tell which roads lead to pipeline construction because they've got flagging and signage set up. There's a fair amount of clearing going on around Clearwater, and they're prepping road accesses west of Littlefort. Unfortunately, I was tailed in this area by one of their private security goons in an unmarked black truck, so I didn't really get much of a chance to pull out my camera. Kamloops is the area in the province where Trans Mountain started first, so it's also where they're furthest along. They have cleared a large swath of Ken Cartwright Park and are starting work in the Lac du Bois grasslands protected area. Unfortunately, they are now drilling under the Thompson River and pulling their pipe underneath it. Secwepemc people are opposing this work on the ground, and 9 people were arrested for standing in its way. Further south, there's a fair amount of clearing started along the Coquihalla, especially around the summit. You may remember Trans Mountain had to get these trees down before the snow got too deep to work. Earlier this month, an Untitled mother was arrested blocking construction around Falls Lake Creek. Sadly, the company cut the forest on both sides of the water afterwards, but they've still got lots of work left to do in the area. Not much work beyond surveying has started on the route in the Fraser Valley or Metro Vancouver, although it continues at pace within the walls of Trans Mountain's fortified facilities. Workers are building a new tank at the Sumas Mountain facility in Abbotsford, and drilling under Burnaby Mountain is due to start in December. Clearing has once again been pushed back in the lower mainland, likely to avoid more protests like the tree sitters, who successfully delayed the pipeline's projected in-service date this summer. Now, construction is underway across the BC interior. It's hard to watch beloved places being torn apart, and it's easy to get discouraged. But Secwepemc land defenders and water protectors are taking this pipeline on, and they need your support. And it's obvious to me that the mere presence of on-the-ground resistance is already blowing holes in the project's construction schedule. They're counting on those of us who care about local waters, climate change, and Indigenous rights to give up hope before they reach the lower mainland. And we both know that's not going to happen.